Hi, my name's David Gregory, and a lot of you know me as that California secessionist, that guy posting nonstop political commentary on social media, that guy, and it's nice to meet you. Few of you have really actually heard me talk or interact with you, so I've participated in the California independence movement officially since 2016, roughly right after the election. However, I had been working with people for California secession since high school, in one facet or another. I feel that we're reaching a point that we all have to admit what we need to do, and I understand the reasons why people are not so ready to do it. If I could shake you all and help you to understand how significant the degradation of institutions of a state are, or the lack of legitimacy in those institutions and faith in those institutions. What's next? A lack of faith in the currency, a lack of this leads to disastrous things. I don't need to explain that to a political science people out there, but those who may not be don't really understand that. Um, so where does that leave us? California is the fifth largest economy in the world. It leaves us in a great position to separate out. But to do that by force or by putting our foot down is not going to work. We don't need gimmicks, and we don't need to try to seek attention in ways that aren't going to be beneficial to the cause. That being said, something's got to give, right? I mean, you guys have supported this movement for a while, and like me, something's got to give. It just keeps getting worse. And at what point do we get up and do something? And what is it that we do? And which group is out there in the best interest of California? And it's a lot of questions. And I don't pretend to have the answers to all of them. I will say, I believe in you, all of you Californians. I believe in the end, it's just going to become common knowledge that this is the common sense solution to a problem of absolute idiocy going on. I mean, some of you guys have got to be feeling like me when it comes to that movie Idiocracy, and that it's become, I mean, it has become Idiocracy. We can't look at a fact and call it a fact. We can't look at a message for what it is. We have to look at the person giving us the message. And despite the substance of the message, we will believe it or not believe it depending on who's giving it to us. There's something fundamentally flawed about that notion. You all know it. Everybody knows it. A lot of people would see you as traitorous or unpatriotic, and the opposite is true. I see you as the most patriotic for wanting to do what this country should have been based off of in the beginning. A land of freedom, a hegemon of peace, ideals that point towards the future and not pull back to the past. We also have to stop saying and holding our current state government and our current state institutions in such high esteem. They're full of the same people. So where do you go? What do you do? Well, you get active. That's the most important thing. Get active and you talk common sense solutions to regular people. It should be common sense that with the fifth largest economy, there is no reason we should be bullied. Now, a lot of people are on that militant wing, that far off wing that, wants a conflict, and I really don't want a conflict at all. A velvet secession, would be wonderful. That'd be fantastic. And I believe the way to achieve that is to appeal to the conservative wing of the United States and let them realize that if they want the country to go the way they are, they're going to need to get rid of California because honestly, we're the counterbalance to everything they want to do. We're the thorn in their shoes and they're the thorn in ours. And I think that, even in a case where you can't stand each other, admitting that we have thorns in our shoes and they hurt and they kind of suck, that should be pretty easy, right? I believe that is the path right now forward as far as that is concerned. The problem with this, and to me it sounds common sense, but the problem with this is the faith in the Democratic Party that California holds on to greatly. But the facts are that most Californians are non-voters and they don't participate in the system because they're disgusted in the system and they don't see results. Those are the people we need. The people who were so turned off that something new is better. We can go try to convince politically savvy people, politically astute people, and college kids, and by the time you're a junior in college, you've sold your soul to a party 9 times out of 10 anyway, right? It's not about a party. It's about a future for your children. Anybody else get the feeling that the world's coming to an end if we don't do something? I mean, that's not a crazy notion. The scientists are saying it. But is that a fact? I mean, now we got to question that while we die. You know, I firmly believe that we are the worst, nastiest, worst generation. Sorry to say that, but I think it's true. We can change that and be the best. But at this point, if we have a garbage island floating in the ocean that's bigger than a chunk of the United States, that's pretty bad, man. Pretty bad. So common sense says what? What does common sense say? Well, the common sense part of your brain might say, but if we go and demand independence, that's going to lead to a civil war. And it could, and that's a possibility. Now, that would take an overt act of aggression from the East to do that because I don't see anybody in a position in California to put our National Guard against the United. They have bases here, they'd stomp you in a second. Now, coming to common grounds on if you want your agenda to be pushed forward unimpeded, California leaving is your best option. And a lot of people say, well, that's abandoning them to the conservative ideals and policies that they don't believe in the East. That's not my problem, and I hate to be so. That's not my problem. You guys are my problem. You guys are what I care about. You're California. You're my people. I've worked all over the East. I've heard and remembered all the nasty things you've said about us. When I meet you and you go, you're from California, excuse me for being bitter. So before free speech is gone, it's well on its way to getting there, I at least gotta tell you to stand up for yourselves and create the greatest nation the world has ever seen. We'll always be Americans. That's our birthright. Nobody can take that from you. You're American because you live in America. But Canadians are Americans, and Mexicans are Americans, and Costa Ricans are American. You get what I'm saying? You'll always be America. But will you be free? Does it make you feel good knowing that your country's all over the place acting like the freaking Sith in Star Wars? I mean, there's decency here, and there's good. If they want to lose their grace, let them lose their grace. That's their issue. We gotta do something. And what best thing we can do is reach those people who are disconnected with the current political system. We can sit in our echo chambers and we can talk to other secessionists and on these pages. But if you're on my page, chances are you're either leaning towards or considering or at least tolerant of the idea of secession. I need those people, and you need those people. We all need those people that don't participate in the system. That's the golden ticket. And the only way to do that is to make them believe in the movement. And the only way to make them believe in the movement is to break this down to the most common sense terms imaginable. Basic third grade material, man. We don't need to come off as overly educated and pompous. We need to go reach those working class Californians, and there's a lot of them, and they're being pushed out of their home as we speak. If there was ever a people ripe for wanting political change, it is us. How much higher is the rent going to get? How much higher is the cost of living going to get? How much bigger are the homeless encampments going to get before we all snap out of it and realize that while we're a part of them, we have no capacity to take care of us? Love you guys.